Hi guys, I hope everyone's doing well. Today is going to be your first mini lesson for the outsiders. This is going to be kind of a super short and sweet one. I'm just going to introduce the types of conflict to you and what conflict actually is, because along the way we are going to be mapping conflict within each chapter and putting it on a timeline around my board. If you are already in class, you should have seen that timeline. If not, you will see it next time. So what I want you guys to do is basically follow along with me as if this were guided notes. I'm just going to talk out loud, walk you through what conflict is, and each of the 4 types that we're going to look at specifically in the outsiders. So first things first, I'm sure you guys have already learned what conflict is, but for the sake of definitions on your guys' paper, I want you to go ahead and put this definition down. Conflict, when we're thinking about it in class, is a struggle between 2 forces. Those forces could be different, and we're going to talk about how they're going to be different in just a second here. But go ahead and jot down your definition of conflict. All right, guys, now that you got your definition down, we're going to walk through each one. As I add things on my notes, I would like you guys to add them right along with me. The first type of conflict we're going to be talking about is man versus man. Man versus man is going to be our most common conflict. This is the one you guys are pretty familiar with, I would assume already. Man versus man conflict is simply when one character gets in the way of another character. So this is our fist fights. This is our pushing in the hallway, whatever it may be, or even if it's just verbal words exchanged between 2 different people, that still counts as man versus man conflict. So for example, if you guys are Harry Potter fans out there, Voldemort and Harry would be a great example of a man versus man conflict. Not only do they have physical conflict with each other, but they also have verbal. All right, guys, moving forward, man versus self. This one is also pretty common, but it could be tricky to identify and understand. What I want you guys to know about man versus self conflict is that it is when a character has inner issues or their inner thoughts cause friction or prevents them from doing something. This one, I am sure we've all experienced. No matter who we are or what we go through, we always have those inner conflicts where we either second guess ourselves, where we're not sure what we should have for dinner, whether it should be hot dogs or mac and cheese. Those are examples of inner conflict, some bigger than others. A good example from something you guys might have read, which you did, was 9:10. An inner conflict example for man versus self would be when Nahid is struggling as to whether or not she should make up with Eliza, because all Nahid wanted to do was fit in. So she's struggling with the fact that if she makes up with Eliza, that may cause friction in her real life, and that may transfer to man versus man. Alrighty, guys, moving on forward, we come to man versus nature. This one is less common. I would say it's the least common out of the 4 that we're going to be looking at specifically for the outsiders. Man versus nature is going to be when a character is fighting against natural forces, which would include weather, animals, and even the climate. The Outsiders does have a great example of man versus nature, and that one will become obvious to you guys the more we read along. It doesn't come along until closer to the middle of the book, but I have confidence that you guys will be able to catch it. A great example from something you guys might have read or seen is the Hunger Games for man versus nature type of conflict. When they are in the arena has the ability to specifically fight back. So some of those instances include with large traps like the large bugs, the smoke that causes their skin to bubble, or the water that also gets in their way. Alrighty guys, last one is going to be man versus society, and this one is also a very large factor in the Outsiders, and we'll talk about that more in depth as we move forward, because society is one of our biggest topics actually of the Outsiders as well. So in a man versus society conflict, that's going to be when a character's beliefs or their actions go against what other people consider acceptable or normal. Now, man versus society, guys, I'm sure you guys see this a lot in your everyday lives too. Being in middle school, a lot of the times people are judged. A big one is based off of our appearance and what we look like. So there's a standard that we set as a society on what is acceptable or what is normal in regards to how we look. So in the Outsiders specifically, I'll give you guys a little thing to look for. The greasers are looked down for their actions, for their clothes, and for their hair specifically. So that's why I included this quote down here. They grew up on the outside of society. They weren't looking for a fight, but they were just looking to belong. So throughout the book, this is going to be our big guns coming in. Though there are all of them, this one is the one that is going to resonate with us and relate directly to theme. So I want you guys to keep a lookout for that. I'll leave this here for a few more seconds in case any of you guys are not caught up with your notes. As soon as you're finished jotting down in your 4 sections what I have here for you, you are good to go, and that is the end of mini lesson 1. I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to do the rest of your at-home work, and as always, if you need me, let me know.